is Caravan to Midnight, the John B. Wells program. Here is John B.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, needless to say, first time with us on Caravan to Midnight, a man who is the veritable living legend, and a controversial one too, which that goes to that whole legend thing, really. Inventor of the first antivirus software, he is the one and only John David McAfee. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is an American computer programmer, businessman, and 2016 Libertarian Party presidential candidate, developer of the first commercial antivirus program. This bore the McAfee brand name for years until it was bought by Intel and given the Intel name. His wealth peaked at about $100 million before his investment suffered in the global crisis of 2007. Mr. McAfee also has interests in smartphone apps, yoga, and all-natural antibiotics. He resided for a number of years in Belize, but after several disputes with the authorities in Belize and Guatemala, he returned to the United States in 2013. He was born in the United Kingdom in September of 1945 on a U.S. Army base, raised in Salem, Virginia, received both a bachelor's degree in mathematics and an honorary Doctor of Science from Roanoke College in 1967 and 2008, respectively. He was employed as a programmer by NASA's Institute for Space Studies in New York City from 1968 to 1970. From there, he went to UNIVAC as a software designer and later to Xerox as an operating system architect. In 1978, he joined Computer Sciences Corporation as a software consultant. He worked for consulting firm Booz Allen Hamilton from 1980 to 1982. In the 1980s, while employed by Lockheed, Mr. McAfee received a copy of the Brain computer virus and began developing software to combat viruses. And then in 1987, he founded McAfee Associates, a computer antivirus company. In 1989, he left Lockheed, began working full-time at McAfee Associates, which he initially operated from his home in Santa Clara, California. The company was incorporated in Delaware in 1992, and McAfee resigned from the company in 1994. 2 years after McAfee Associates went public, McAfee sold his remaining stake in the company. Network Associates was formed in 1997 as a merger of McAfee Associates and Network General. The Network Associates company name was retained for 7 years when it was renamed McAfee Incorporated. In August 2010, Intel bought McAfee, maintaining the separate branding until January 2014, when it announced that McAfee's related products will be marketed as Intel Security. McAfee expressed his pleasure at his name no longer being associated with the software. All right, a little bit more. Other business ventures that were founded by Mr. McAfee include Tribal Voice, which developed one of the first instant messaging programs, Powwow. In 2000, John McAfee invested in and joined the board of directors of Zone Labs, makers of firewall software, prior to its acquisition by Checkpoint Software in 2003. I mean, this is amazing. You see where I'm getting the legend thing from? In August 2009, the New York Times reported that McAfee's personal fortune had declined to $4 million from a peak of $100 million, the effect of the global financial crisis and recession on his investments. In 2009, he was interviewed in Belize for the CNBC special The Bubble Decade, in which it was reported that he had invested in or built many mansions in the USA that went unsold when the 2007 global recession hit. The report also discussed his quest to produce plants for possible medicinal uses on his land in Belize. Beginning in February 2010, he started a new venture in the field of bacterial quorum sensing. His company, Quorum X, with a 13 in brackets, has its headquarters in Belize and is working toward producing commercial, all-natural antibiotics based on anti-quorum sensing technology. In 2013, he started a new company, Future Tense Central, to produce a secure computer network device called the D-Central. Now we're coming up to current day, of course. In February 2014, he announced Cognizant, an application for smartphones which displays information about the permissions of other installed applications. Okay, that's kind of important. On April 3rd, 2014, he rebranded Cognizant as D-Central. D-Central 1, D, capital C, Entral, and the number 1, and released an Android version for free on Google Play. At the DEF CON conference in Las Vegas, Nevada in August 2014, he warned Americans not to use smartphones, suggesting apps are used to spy on clueless consumers who do not read privacy user agreements. As of January this year, he's running an incubator called Future Tenth Central. He's also the chief evangelist for security startup EveryKey. On February 2016, he received media attention by publicly volunteering to decrypt the iPhone used by the San Bernardino shooters, avoiding the need for Apple to build a backdoor. He identifies himself as a libertarian, advocating for the decriminalization of cannabis and an end to the war on drugs, non-interventionism in foreign policy, and a free market economy which does not redistribute wealth and upholds free trade. He supports abolishing the Transportation Security Administration. He advocates for increased cyber awareness and more action against the threat of cyber warfare. He has advocated for religious liberty, saying that business owners should be able to deny service in cases that contradict their religious beliefs, saying that no one is forcing you to buy anything or to choose one person over another. So why should I be forced to do anything I am not harming you, if I am not harming you? It's my choice to sell. It's your choice to buy. A little bit more. John's waiting. In a 2012 article in Mensa Bulletin, the magazine of American Mensa, he stated that being the developer of the first commercial antivirus program has made him the most popular hacking target, confiding, "Hackers see hacking me as a badge of honor." Yeah, pretty sure that's true. He added that for his own security, he has other people buy his computer equipment for him, uses pseudonyms for setting up computers and logging in, and changes his IP address several times a day. In 2012, when asked if he personally uses McAfee antivirus, he replied, "I take it off. It's too annoying." Wow, I like him. John McAfee, welcome to the program. Man, that's some exposition for you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'd like to correct one misconception that you stated, that I was unhappy when Intel changed the name. No. I actually published a press release saying that I was eternally grateful to Intel for changing the name from me for the worst software on the planet, which it was at the time and still is. I mean, after I left the company, I think the software became the most intrusive, bulky, and unusable software on the planet. So just to correct that small misstep. So.
Okay, I don't know if I misspoke or if there was a misprint. I'm looking for it now, but in any case, if I screwed up, you called me on it, and I appreciate it when that's done because I don't like to do that. So thanks, John.
Not a problem.
You know, a lot of people thought that these antivirus programs like McAfee, Kaspersky, I don't know if it's Kaspersky. I thought it was Kaspersky because it comes from Russia. Why is it not Kaspersky?
It's Kaspersky, a very bright Russian gentleman, and I think next to myself, one of the finest cybersecurity experts on the planet.
Well, and Norton as well. You know, it's like I abandoned the PC platform a long time ago because I just mentioned this yesterday before I even found out you were coming on. And I said, you know, I go with Mac instead of PC because I'm tired of having guys who really know how to work with a PC bringing up all these windows. I have no idea where they came from. And I'm always going, how did you make that window come up like that? I pushed every key on this thing. I did that random number generator thing. I was all over. I couldn't make that window come up. But a lot of people thought that the viruses they were catching were actually caused by the antivirus software. Is there any truth to that at all?
No, there's none whatsoever. I mean, trust me, there are hundreds of thousands of people who are building malware. It would be ridiculous for an antivirus software manufacturer or a computer security manufacturer to actually add to that mix. Let those other people do the work for you and make your market for you. Yeah, that's absurd.
Well, that totally makes sense. Now, we know that several of the cell phone companies, I say cell phones, the smartphone suppliers, they actually, they help the NSA and other agencies spy on you. Is there anything to suggest that any of these antivirus program manufacturers have been leaned on to in some way facilitate somebody looking into their computer? Is that even possible?
That would be fairly useless. I mean, we already download the spying apps ourselves. I mean, all the NSA or the FBI or the CIA would need to do is build a desirable application, whether it be a game app or something that saves you time or money or energy, make it free. And here's the problem. I mean, if you're downloading something for free, which is really useful, and you use a lot, and it doesn't cost you anything, then you didn't listen to your mom and dad when you were growing up saying, or they should have said, there's nothing free in life. That's a fact. No company is going to spend $2 or $3 million building a sophisticated, useful application and give it away for free. We have to get real here. So if it says it's free and you're paying nothing and you're using it, you're paying something. And what you're paying is your privacy. It's an intrusion into your life. And from that intrusion, they find out what color shirts you like, where you buy your shoes, where you buy your home insurance, and then they start marketing to you. They start selling to you. That's fairly innocuous. I mean, I can always say no, and I always do. You know, I can spot a phishing email or an email trying to sell me something instantly, and I just delete it or don't even bother to read it. But unfortunately, many people do not do that. The problem is not whether it's Apple or it's a Windows. Android owns 95% of the world market for mobile devices, and these are the devices that are actually spying on you. Your computer, if you have an actual computer, it's going to sit there on that desk. You're not going to take it to Walmart with you. You're not going to sleep with it. But our phones, we do. We take them to Walmart. We take them to our offices. We put them on our nightstand while we're sleeping. And over half of the applications have asked for permission to turn on your microphone, for example, so that they can listen to you, or to turn on your camera, or to take video, to read your contacts, to read your instant messages, to read your emails. And you give them permission. So they are spying on you as per your request. They say, do you want to use this app? You say, yes. Well, here's the things that we need in order to run on your device. Do you agree or not? Everybody always agrees. We're agreeing to being spied on in the bathroom if we leave our phone on the sink counter. We agree to being spied on in our bedroom. They're allowed, while we're in the bedroom with our husbands or our wives, to turn on the camera, the video, and the microphone, and to record and transmit that information to themselves or to a third party at their will. Nothing illegal in that because you have agreed to that. So we're in a world of hurt here, of our own creation. It's much better to pay $3 or $5 or $10 for an app and have total freedom and privacy than to get it for free and not know who is watching us, listening to us, reading our emails, reading our text messages. Come on. Again, you know, your parents should have told you there is nothing in life that is free. Nothing. I mean, it doesn't work that way. There are not people so good-natured they go, I'm going to spend $4 million and build this sophisticated app and just give it to the world for nothing. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
I'm not so sure you and I aren't related, man, because I go on and on about, you know, it should be free. Everything should be free. It's like, and I've said it 100 times, at least, just on this program. There is nothing that is free. Nothing is free. You can't even drink a glass of water without killing some microbes. You can't build a house out of wood without killing a tree. You can't eat that stuff over there without killing the plant that grew it, unless you attend to it and bring it and resurrect it.
If you have an apple tree in your backyard, to get the best fruit, you're still going to have to climb the tree. I'm sorry. You have to do something. And so what we are doing is giving up our privacy, which is very, very valuable. Microsoft did a study last year and found out that close to $1,000 is the value of every man, woman, and child's information in America. That's a lot of money. Yep. A lot of money. And so we're paying. Our privacy is valuable. And if you want to go ahead and sell it, that's fine. But you should be aware that you are selling it, that you are giving up the most intimate details of your life, that while you are in bed with your spouse, there could be not just one, but 25 applications that are watching, listening, and transferring all of that data to some third party for some unknown reason. And beyond that, people are writing apps that are not good people. They're not all just used for marketing information in order to sell you something. No, some of them are trying to steal your credit card information, your identity, or to blackmail you. I mean, good heavens! Right now we have people in Russia and China who are locking down hospital insurances. It's called ransomware, and saying, pay us $25,000 and we'll give you your information back. I mean, this is the world we live in. And if it's happening to hospitals, if it's happening to corporations and to our own government, for heaven's sake, then you know it's happening to you individually on a smaller scale. But it's happening. So do you want your privacy or not? People who go, well, if you've got nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, do not understand what privacy means. Because privacy is something that we exercise hundreds of times each day unconsciously. Think about it. When you check out from the grocery store and you buy whatever, eggs, potatoes, whatever you're buying, when you talk to the checkout clerk, you do not normally, unless you're on drugs, divulge the intimate details of your life to a stranger. That would be insane, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When a friend that we just met, we might divulge a little bit more, our likes and dislikes. For a close friend, we might divulge almost everything. To a spouse that we trust, we might divulge our entire existence. But again, it's a choice. If you're having an affair, you might choose not to divulge that to your spouse. I'm not talking about morality here. I'm talking about the glue that holds society together. Because if, in fact, your spouse is not happy with that fact, you may lose a marriage and your children may be without a father or a mother living in a different state. So it's not a moral issue at all. It's an issue of harmonizing our entire society, from the stranger we meet at the checkout counter to the people who are closest to us. We divulge only those things which are safe to us and to them. With our boss, we divulge only those things that will make sure that our next review will get us a promotion or perhaps a raise. Why? That's perfectly natural. We all do that. So we put on a mask with every single interaction in society. Why? Because if everybody knew everything about everyone else, there would be chaos in the streets, beginning with a rash of spousal shootings. Think about this. So privacy is not something going to have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. You've got nothing to hide from whom? You've never lied to your boss about being sick while you're at home? You've never lied to anybody about anything, or you've never not revealed something? Of course, all of us. You know, even when we're grown with our parents, we go visit our parents, we go, okay, I'm not going to say anything about what I did last week because my dad's going to rag on me. So in order to have a smoothly running and harmonizing, harmonic society, privacy is the glue. And people need to understand this. So when that glue starts being loosened by whoever, someone trying to sell you shoes, we know you buy brown loafers, so we're going to put on your Facebook page the next sale for brown loafers at Macy's. Okay, that's one thing. But other people are not so innocuous. And it's a pathogenic problem. People trying to steal your bank account, your money, your identity, to do you harm. People trying to find out things about you, which you are ashamed of or would not want certain people to know. And then you're set up for blackmail. I mean, it's not that simple. Got nothing to hide, got nothing to fear. Remember, the SS under Hitler, that was their motto when they wanted to find things out. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Utter bullshit. Well, I'm sorry. Can I say that on this program? No, I can't.
No, you have done, and it's okay. Keep going. That's actually a very frequently used technical term. We use it around here all the time.
It is a technical term indeed.
No, it is. Now, let me ask you this. You know, John, I do not patronize you when I say you strike me as an incredibly, not only intelligent, but a very articulate man. So, have you come to any conclusions as to why this ridiculous level of surveillance? Where is this leading? We know that it exists. I wonder sometimes if there are the people involved who can actually manage the metadata. I suspect that they have far more data than they can possibly even go through. Why are they doing this, and where are we headed? In other words, as I like to say, why are we in this handbasket, and where are we going?
Well, let me explain something about, first of all, government and politics and bureaucracy. Hitler was the first to understand truly that if you know everything about your citizenry, then they can be controlled. And what does control mean? It means that somehow, in an insidious fashion, the government gets into your mind and becomes the puppet master. Now you think, oh, that's science fiction. No, it's not. It's not science fiction. This is reality. It has happened here in America time and time again. What happened after 9/11? We were all unsettled, frightened. We were fearful as a nation. Our government stepped in and said, no, don't be afraid. We will keep you safe and secure. The only thing we need is to have more control over you. So let us form the Homeland Security so that when you fly from Pocatello, Idaho to St. Louis, Missouri, we want to check you out thoroughly. We want to check the contents of your pockets. We want to peruse and investigate the contents of your luggage. We'd like you to remove your shoes, please, and your belt. And would you mind putting your hands in the air while we pat you down, American citizen, our people? Think about this. Think how subtle that was. From the fear that we felt to get into our heads and say, we will remove that fear and make your life comfortable again. They have become, to one small degree, the puppet master over our fear. And it's a small step there to our greed, our lust, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our likes and dislikes. Because what does the government do in hand with the media? It tells us really what's right and wrong, what we should believe and should not believe, what is a proper action and what is not. And from there, what happens to our liberty? What is liberty? Liberty is owning our own minds and our own bodies. They belong to us, not to someone else, and certainly not to a government. And yet, in an insidious fashion, the government has taken ownership of our bodies and our minds in some cases. I mean, look at what happened when Darwin's evolution hit the scene and it struck some people in a wrong way. Well, no, I didn't descend from monkeys, which is such a tiny part of the theory of evolution, one of the most beautiful, one of the most coherent descriptions and explanations of who we are, how we got here, and how we interact with this life around us. And yet, for a while, in certain states, it was illegal to teach such things or even to have the book. The government tells us that it's right or wrong to take certain substances. It's okay to smoke cigarettes, even though they don't want you to, so far. It's okay to drink alcohol, but you can't smoke weed, and you certainly can't become addicted to heroin. That's bad, and that's wrong, and we will prevent you from doing that. Well, it's my body. It's my body, not yours, and certainly not the government's. So if I choose to smoke weed, or even to snort cocaine, or even to become addicted to heroin, it is me. And when you say, oh yeah, but if you get addicted to heroin, you're a burden on society. Only if you choose to take on that burden. Only if you choose as a government. Well, why are we choosing to do so? Because all of our laws against these personal freedoms, or against injecting yourself with a substance, or swallowing a substance, or smoking a substance, have had no effect. They can't have any effect. They have in no way reduced the consumption of illegal drugs. They have merely filled our prisons with non-violent citizens, and in the process created the most brutal and powerful drug cartel in the world, that killed, maimed, and tortured millions of people. Was this our intent? Is this what's good? Seriously, if the government thinks this is good, meaning we're doing good by trying to prevent you from doing what you are going to do in any case, and in the process costing us trillions of dollars,
and creating suffering in the world and filling our prisons with decent people who have done nothing more than smoke a single joint sometimes. So I ask you, what is good and what is bad? Isn't that something that we have to decide and choose? Isn't that something that is taught by our parents? Good is having grace and compassion and caring for your neighbor. Good is not harming another person. Good is not taking another person's property. Good is keeping your word. I mean, it's very simple. We don't need, 6 million pages of law, which we have more than 6 million pages of law in this country, more than any of us could ever read. What is wrong here? Well, what is wrong is that our government, as all governments do eventually, has become corrupt. Why? Because it has become powerful. And whether this is palatable to you or not does not matter, because it is the truth. Power, whether individually or in a group or in a government, inevitably corrupts. I'm sorry, but it is true. Why? Because we are imperfect creatures, and our creations are likewise imperfect. We create government. We fill government with imperfect creatures, humans. We have love and caring, but we also have anger and hatred. We have hopes and dreams. We also have fears and lusts and desires which are perhaps not appropriate for ourselves. So as long as we are human and we have these imperfections, our governments will also have these imperfections because they are composed of ourselves. And the more power governments get, the more corrupt the world becomes. And it does always corrupt. And governments, unfortunately, magnify those human traits which we all have. If human beings individually become angry, we're going to get a bloody nose. When governments become angry, entire civilizations are wiped out. If we have a greedy neighbor who eats up everything in the house whenever we have a dinner, we stop inviting them to dinner. But when governments become angry, entire nations starve. So we live in an imperfect universe, and we are imperfect creatures. And governments have to be checked, always. And in our system, we have a thing called the Constitution. And in the Constitution is Article 5, which says, basically, whenever our government becomes unwieldy and no longer working, we as people have the right to change it through a thing called a constitutional convention, which has never been invoked. But it can be. And change can come through that constitutional convention in a peaceful way and a peaceful manner. The old way of changing government was simply called revolution. And it is nightmarish and bloody and horrific and causes great suffering. But people will do it in any case. What happened in Russia? The czar situation, the separation between those at the top and those at the bottom was so great that it simply had to break. And Lenin came along and said, whoa, I'm going to change this. And in 18 months he did, through a horrific war. But there have been revolutions throughout society always. So governments will all either collapse from within, the citizenry going, I'm mad as hell, I'm not taking it anymore, or from without. Corruption also brings internal weakness. And internal weakness makes you pray for other nations that are not as corrupt. This is our situation.
I never heard anybody put it as well, let alone better. I'm serious. That was eloquence. Now, my next question is, how close do you think we are? Many people have said, if we lose the United States to this attempt at totalitarianism, if we lose the United States, the rest of the world will follow right down the toilet. And so, how much more pain do you think that this society, this American society, needs to feel before a revolution is sparked? And what form do you think it will take?
I'm sorry. I don't want to see a revolution. I don't. I don't want this country to suffer such a nightmare. I do not. I think we have choices. I mean, I just mentioned Article 5. You know, if we get mad enough, force our states to demand a constitutional convention. It only takes a 2/3 majority of the states to call one. Believe me, things will change. I'm running for president under the Libertarian Party banner. Why? Because the Libertarian Party and libertarians believe, among all things, that government is not created to interfere in our lives. It is created to serve us and to get the heck out of the way. And that's what we need our current government to do. Get out of the way. Stop interfering. Stop putting barriers to individual and corporate and business freedoms. It is so hard to start a new business in this country today. Why? You have to fill out 1,000 forms. Well, people who are starting businesses, they scrimp and they save so that they can quit their jobs and apply themselves full-time, 7 days a week, 18 hours a day to building their dream. And it's hard enough. I've done this many times, I promise you. It is not easy. It takes commitment and energy and the support of your family and eating cheaper foods and living in a cheaper fashion. And then the government comes in and says, well, no, but you've got to adhere to all these things. You've got to get a business license. You have to fill out all these forms and get OSHA involved. And whoa, come, please. No, just get the heck out of my way and let me live and let businesses thrive and let America get back to something that is a growing, a flowering nation in which hope is alive and dreams and all things are possible. Because believe me, when we are all free, when we all have absolute liberty, without interfering with someone else or harming someone else, just individual liberty ourselves, magic happens. Magic happens. I grew up in the 50s under the last president who actually wanted to serve America, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, he was not a perfect president. He was not. But he was the last one who wanted to serve and the last one who did not want the job. Think about this. Dwight Eisenhower had been supreme Allied commander over half of the world's armies. It was not a promotion for him to become president of the U.S. He knew this. He didn't want it. He had served the country and served it well. He wanted to fish. But he was pushed into that job by those in power who knew we can get him elected. And he took it, and he served us, and he warned us on leaving office. He warned us well, saying, beware the military-industrial complex, which I see building around us in collusion with our government. It will remove your liberty, and it has. It has. We need more people like him. But the Libertarian Party is our last hope, other than a constitutional convention, which I promise will be quashed somehow by Congress and the executive branch. Because if we had a constitutional convention today, I promise you the people would want half of the government thrown out and everything sent back to a rational state, meaning no more perks for congressmen, a rational salary, no more private jets. They're spending our money, which we worked hard for and we sweat for. They take that from us to give themselves perks. $18,000 a year chocolate budgets for Hillary Clinton, as an example.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know about that one.
This is not what we intended. It's not what I wanted. Certainly not what I intended when I declared allegiance in grade school. Now, who cares whether that's right or wrong again, but it's what I did. But I had hope in my heart when that was happening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands. Good Lord, think about the beauty of those words, if in fact we have liberty. But we don't anymore. And we have no privacy. And privacy is the ground rock of liberty, because without privacy, there is no liberty. Because without privacy, you will become a puppet of those in power. And your liberty will then be sucked away.
Well, I'm thinking Article 25, too. Yeah.
There, I'm not a constitutional scholar. What is 25?
Removal of this president. Yeah.
That's going to help. The next in chain will just come up and become the same thing. Here's the problem with bureaucracy. It's like being any employee of the U.S. government. If you are incompetent, you're never fired. You're merely promoted to get you out of the way. This is the fact. And such a system does not promote creativity and innovation. It does not. Which is why our government is so stagnant and angry and inverted. We have a government and a nation which has real enemies. You cannot possibly deny that. I'm not a warmonger, and I do not want to see war anywhere. We've had too much, too many. Please, it's enough. It's enough. But we still have enemies. Iran, much of the Middle East. You think China, which is acting so friendly, actually likes us? Please get real. China was weaving silk, reciting poetry, and playing complex musical instruments while my ancestors, and probably yours, were living in trees or caves and wearing bear skins. The Chinese call us gaijin, barbarian, because we are. We are arrogant, uncultured, uncivilized, and lacking in knowledge of the rest of the world. There are civilizations which stretch back millennium. We're 300 years old, less. So, of course, we have enemies. We have been the world's policemen for 60 years, wielding a big stick and destroying nations, societies, cultures. You think we don't have enemies? Well, just think we do. We do. And having enemies, we don't need to be adding to that pool by including us, the citizens, as enemies, because that is what the government has done. How do you feel, people, when you are standing in line at the TSA, being patted down and your arms are in the air and your personal belongings are being closely scrutinized? Do you feel protected? I don't. I feel like the enemy. I have been in prison, and entering prison is exactly what it feels like to me. I don't feel protected. I feel like the government suspects me and everyone going through this line. And the NSA spying on American citizens. Its charter is not to do that. Its charter is to ferret out those risks and those immediate threats to our nation from foreign countries. Surely we are not that. I am not the problem, in spite of the fact that they think I am, because I speak out against every aspect of this government. I'm surprised I'm not in jail now for some imagined crime, because I've been speaking out harshly against the FBI in the past few weeks. Harshly.
I noticed that.
Not the enemy. I have the right as an American citizen to call it as I see it. I have the right, according to Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson, to commit civil disobedience if there is a law which is unjust, unconstitutional, and virtually criminal. I have this right. I do. And so, there you have it. I lost my thread. What were you talking about?
Dude, you are just so right on. I'm sorry, I duded you there, John. Sorry about that. But I mean, I'm telling you, I love the words that are coming out of your mouth, folks. I want to, from Who is McAfee, MCAFEE, whoismcafee.com. I clicked on one of the links, and I want to read you some here. And this is about his presidential run as a libertarian. It's written here, John McAfee has the heart of a libertarian, and he knows how to spread the message of liberty far and wide. He's seen firsthand what happens when a government has unchecked power over its citizens. He's been a part of the technological revolution that has proven how an industry free from government regulation can flourish. He's got the expertise and know-how to protect our nation from the real security threats of today and protect our privacy while doing it. He also has something down here entitled We the People, composed, written, performed, narrated by John McAfee. John, I want to play this on the program later, if that's okay with you.
Feel free. That is actually me. I did write it. I played the piano. It's a silly little piece, perhaps, but it was from my heart, nevertheless.
What are we going to do about this two-party system? It's become one party. Nothing gets done. The thing about it is I don't want to see a revolution here either. I don't want.
Please come to Let's Do Nothing party.
I'm sorry, I walked all over you. What'd you just say? I'm sorry, I muted you out.
Said, yeah, it's the please come to the Let's Get Nothing Done party. That's what it is. But it's more than that. The parties actually are so mechanized, so machine-like, that no matter who you are, when you enter that party and decide to do something important, your entire soul will be sucked out by the machinations of this machine. And that sounds dramatic, maybe, but think about it. You cannot do anything within a system where the power, the ideology is already set and structured and immutable. And so what happens is you get into this thinking that I am strong enough and brave enough and pure enough that I can do something, but you cannot. You simply cannot. The machine will not let you. You know, if it's a car engine that runs on unleaded fuel, it's not going to let you be leaded. Do you get the analogy? This is exactly what's happening here. So we need some purity. We need something new. We need something fresh. I mean, the Libertarian Party is new enough and small enough that there's no machinations there. I've been talking to the state delegates. I've called over half of them personally. I mean, it runs the gamut. There is nothing that's common. The difficulty is getting everyone to walk in lockstep, of course, but it's fresh, and it's ideologically pure, if you can even call ideology a pure thing. But it's pure enough that it's simple and understandable, that you simply apply the following precepts to all problems and all situations. Our bodies and minds belong to ourselves. We do not hurt one another. We do not take stuff from one another. And we keep our agreements, meaning we keep our word. We don't lie to you. And so that's it. It's as simple as that. And from those few basics, everything in society, in relationship, in economy, and in government can be structured. There are simple building blocks, which we have lost. And you know for a fact that our founding fathers were libertarian. Liberty, how often does that word appear? Personal liberty, the foundation of a sane and prosperous society, is liberty.
That's it.
Story. So take a look at the Libertarian Party. Take a look at me. Go to McAfee2016.com, McAfee2016.com, and read what I stand for and what I believe in, which is really the Libertarian Party. I didn't become a libertarian. I have been a libertarian my entire life. I just did not have a word to apply to it. I have always believed that my body belonged to me and my mind, which is why I was in jail so many times, because I acted on that belief. I have smoked weed in front of policemen and gotten arrested. Why? Because it is my right, I think. If the Constitution is correct and my body is mine, then what I put into it is my choice, not yours. Never yours.
How do we...
McAfee16.com.
McAfee2016.com, yeah? All right. You know, when you do stuff like that, it's the same thing as we who do stuff like what we do, which is, I don't call it conspiracy theory, I call it lie detection. You know, it's like, McAfee, what a nutcase, smoked a joint in front of a cop, got himself arrested, what a dumbass. It's like, this John Wells guy sitting over there talking about how Sandy Hook looks phony and JFK assassination was set up by CIA and Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA officer. Well, all of those things are true. In the case of Sandy Hook, it is I'm absolutely convinced that was nothing but a staged event because there are too many dead ends and they're just falling all over each other. Now you got the local police and the state police blaming each other. No, you've got the dash cam video. No, you do. No, we don't. You do. I mean, and then the first selectman up there says, when she's asked by Wolfgang Halbig's lawyer, When was the sign that said everyone must check in, which anybody who's ever been to any kind of a movie shoot that involved a bunch of people, there is a sign there that says everyone must check in. Okay? And it's a highway sign. And so she was asked, when was the sign put there? Oh, 3 days before the incident. And who put it there? You know what her answer was? The Department of Homeland Security. Our crew video recorded it as the words came out of her mouth, and then there was the long inhalation from the people that were there at the little hearing. So it's insane. My problem is this. Without the totally corrupted and bought and paid for mainstream media, which has given you a platform to take on the FBI, because there's some of that stuff on his website too. Who is McAfee? You need to see this website. You need to go there and look at it. Without mainstream media, John, how can you get any traction to launch a presidential campaign? These cats are out there throwing millions and billions, and it's this big, complicated apparatus that even, it's not like you can just jump on the float and ride down the public street on it. I mean, you got to have a lot of dough behind you, and you're a man who's not unfamiliar with having lots of dough. I mean, how can you get some traction?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, I'd like to, because I talk about drugs a lot, because in my past life, I did a lot of them, more than you could carry, I promise you. But I haven't done drugs for 35 years. I did it, I stopped, period. And it's your choice, like it was my choice. My choice to start, my choice to stop. Nevertheless, from those experiences, I learned a lot. And so I'm strongly in favor of those who want to do whatever you want to do with your own mind and your own body. Fill your mind with whatever you like. It's yours. And likewise, fill your body with whatever you like. It's yours. It's your body. But I stand up strongly for these people. And so people have the idea that I'm some stoner. No, I haven't had weed or any drug for 35 years. I drink alcohol, some. It's a failing perhaps, but it's what I do. In terms of the media, because of my past and because of certain implications from my recent past, it's very easy for me to get media. Very easy. I mean, I can call up, Fox Studios and say, I've got a story for you. The only question they're going to ask is, will it make good TV? Well, yes, I guarantee you, it always does. And so I have a little advantage from that standpoint. But you're absolutely correct. I mean, the two-party systems, the Democrats and Republicans have got billions of dollars at their fingertips. That's hard. I don't. Which is why if you do go to McAfee2016.com and you want to press donate $1, 50 cents, I don't care what. It all helps. But I'm not thinking about that now. I'm just thinking about one step at a time, and getting the word out, getting me out, like I'm doing right here, right now. I don't think that you can deny I've been speaking from my heart. I have. I don't have prepared speeches. I don't prepare for anything. Even the debates in the Libertarian Party, I don't prepare for. I just show up and wait to see what life throws me, what this miracle of creation is going to come up with in this moment. And then I will be me in this moment and handle those things. But it's going to be hard. I admit it is. But I have hope in my heart. Because here's what makes a true revolutionary. In all situations where there's been either a peaceful or a non-peaceful revolution, and peaceful revolutions happen all the time, which I'm hoping will happen here in America, a peaceful revolution. But a small band of people overcomes a larger band because of one thing and one thing only, and that is conviction. And conviction and habit or habituality are different things. To become part of the party and to enjoy that belonging and that power and so on, you don't have to think about what the party says is right or wrong. You just believe it. Different. It is different. Conviction is something that comes from your heart through experience that you simply know is right. Not morally, not in any theoretical sense, but right from your heart. We all know what's right. If you're walking down along a river and there's a drowning child, who walks on by if you can swim? Nobody. We jump in, we save the child. We don't think. This is conviction. Conviction in this moment, this now. Here is what's happening, and here is who I am, and here's what I can do. I can swim, I can save the child.
If you can't swim, you still do something. You yell for help. You grab a tree branch. You do what you can do. But that is lacking in our two-party system today. There is no conviction. There's merely the lust for power or the lust for belonging.
John, do you think if the money factor? I've been asking this question for a long time. How do these people make so much money when they go to Congress? I mean, what's up with that? Why is it nobody leaves there that's not a multimillionaire? If we took the money factor out of it, do you think that would attract better people who really wanted to serve, or do you think it would attract more people who were convinced they could bend the system eventually to their will and enrich themselves with it? What do you think would happen if we took the money out?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to get religious on you here.
Okay.
Mammon is the god of money. All right, we worship money. I've had more money than any man could possibly need, and I will tell you the truth of it. Money is not a boon. It's not. It's a burden, because no matter how much you have, the more you have, the more isolated you become as a human being. And here's why: because if you have enough money, and people know it, then you will never know why anyone is laughing at your joke, wanting to be at your side, smiling at you, agreeing with you, doing things for you. And you eventually become so isolated that it's the same thing as being in solitary confinement, which I have been in. And they are identical. They're identical. So people need to understand that money does not solve any problem whatsoever, other than it can buy you food and clothing and shelter, which really in this country is simple. We don't need $1 million. We don't need $1 billion. We don't need more than what we have. No matter what you have, if you're healthy and you're eating well and you're warm.
Yep.
So this quest for power cannot possibly bring good. I know this from experience. No one knows it better than me. I know this from experience. So people who are into anything for power, which is money, it's the wrong purpose. We need to get back to that point where presidents are pushed, kicking and screaming into office. Because these are the dudes who will serve. Why are they kicking and screaming? Because they know, oh my God, if I'm going to follow my heart, this is going to be painful and hard and it'll give me no benefit whatsoever.
Yep.
George Washington and Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Neither one of them wanted it.
Not no benefit. They hated it the whole time, but they tried. Jesus, did they try? Because they wanted to serve the thing that they loved, our nation. We need that. Nothing else will suffice. Nothing will suffice.
Man, I am sorry every time I interrupt you. Just keep talking, John. This is all great. Just keep rolling, man.
I finished my statement.
Okay. Yeah, George Washington didn't want it. Dwight Eisenhower didn't want it. It's
But Donald Trump wants it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But as we talk with various people and we learn what the real structure of the country is now, we've gone so far away from any semblance of a constitutional republic. It defies belief that we allowed this to happen. It's just been one crazy after another. I think John Kennedy was a good guy, although so many people were mad at him because he was a Catholic and because they thought his hair was too long. I mean, all kinds of stupid stuff. I can remember one time I vapor locked my dad because he was complaining about long hair. And I said, wait a minute. What about the conductors who are always depicted either in real life or even in cartoons? They raise their butt first. They push their long hair that's down to the middle of their back away from their faces, raise the baton, and then start playing this wonderful classical music. It's referred to as long hair music. Would you please explain to me, keep talking until I understand why you have a problem with hair being cut or worn in other than a burr or a flat top? And man, he didn't have a response for that, and Dad had a response for just damn near anything. He really did, but that one got
it. Here's the problem. It's really a very simple issue. We fear anything that we think we are not.
Yeah. Wow.
If we are fundamental Christians, then we're going to fear anybody who does not feel and think and believe as ourselves. So as fundamental Christians, if we do not drink because God doesn't want us to, or we don't smoke, we don't have sex before we're married, and that's all great. Great. You might be totally right. I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I cannot get inside your skin and your life and tell you that this is a good thing or a bad thing or a right thing or a wrong thing. It's neither. It's just what you are and what you do. But if you are that, then the guy walking down the street with a bottle in his hand and singing an Irish song is going to scare the shit out of you. And this is the problem that we have. We do not like what we are not. And rather than doing the rational thing, which is going, well, if I am not this, let me include that into my awareness. And let's sit down and talk to this man. Because if you're fundamental Christians, did not Jesus say that same thing? That we must love all of our neighbors. And loving all of your neighbors doesn't mean passing them by with a smile. It means including them in your life. It doesn't mean that you have to do what they do, or believe what they believe, or think what they think. But you have to include them as part of this world in which you live. And if you cannot relate to every aspect of this world, meaning commune from this heart, from this mind, if you can't do that, then you're going to end up isolated, alone, and unhappy and angry, and you will want to make everybody think and feel and act just like you do. And this is our problem. And this is why I think libertarianism is the only answer. It's the answer that says, if that's your belief, wonderful. And I'd be happy to sit down over dinner and hear about it. And in fact, I won't even drink if that is offensive to you. Why? I'm inviting you to dinner. I want to be polite and kind, so I won't drink, I won't smoke. I will be whatever you want for that time, so that I can understand who you are, how you came into being, not the act of creation physical, but you as that total package of thoughts, feelings, and actions, how you came into being, and how wonderful that you are here sharing this life with me. We can do that as people. We can. I know we can. Because if we can't, it's hopeless. It's hopeless.
Man, you need to write a book. I mean, if The Alchemist can sell 20 million copies, I'm pretty sure John McAfee's book, if you wrote down your thoughts as you have expressed them today on Caravan, if you were to write that down, I suspect that there are a lot of people that would really like to read them, because I'm hearing the aforementioned Emerson, I'm hearing the Thoreau, and I'm hearing a little Plato in there too. Plato thought that anything beyond food, shelter, clothing was a perversion.
It is. It is a perversion. Think about it. Because once those are met, then we are whole as individuals. We are whole. We are complete. We are human. Once those are met, the lust for anything more takes us away from the reality of this magic, this immense, infinite life, full of mystery in which we find ourselves. And isn't that the point of existence, of being? Because if you believe in God, can he not manifest himself through this present moment? Can he not show his face and flower into existence right in front of you? Not through a book, not through church, and that's fine if that is the way, but it doesn't have to be, surely. But right here, right now, you and I talking over this medium of electronic communications, which in itself is a miracle, and 20 years ago would not have been believed. And we are talking and communing, you and I. And hopefully later, many others will listen to this, and then they will be communing in that present moment. We don't need more. I promise you we don't, because I have had more. I have had way more than any one man. could ever hope to have or has any right to have. When there are people literally starving, suffering, going through life in ignorance and pain. And we want more, please. It isn't proper.
Mm-hmm. It's the old drink, want more drink. Drug, want more drug. Stuff, want more stuff. It's ridiculous. You drive through, there's a pretty part of town here. We call it the Bubble. It's called Highland Park, Texas. It's just its own little place. There have been a lot of luminaries live over there. I mean, movie stars, politicians, athletes, everything. And you drive past these huge houses, which dwarf just almost anything you see in Beverly Hills. And you drive through there at night, and it looks like nobody even lives there. They're so big, you never see a person walk past a window. The windows are open, the lights are on. You never see a person in there. I'm using the word ever. You can drive through there for years, and you never see these people. And they are at home. And you know where they are? They're at the back of the house in a small den. That's where they are. They're not out there in the grand rooms that everybody sees when they drive past. They're back there in the back, in a little cubbyhole somewhere. And it's just...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Let me add my own experience to that mix. I had a truly spectacular mansion in Colorado with 50 bedrooms total.
Oh, is that all?
And I had people around all the time. And yet I lived in a tiny portion of that. And never experienced and never even went into 95% of the rooms in the property. Never. And again, it was at the height of my wealth, and I felt so isolated. I did. With people around me, I still felt isolated because with enough wealth, you become so isolated that you can trust nothing.
Yeah, it's like Citizen Kane effect.
Not your parents, not your wife, not your best friend anymore, because you notice when you get wealth, your best friends somehow change too. So, no, it's improper. It is not life supporting. It is anti-evolutionary. It is basically the denial of the magic of life, which is basically, I said, there's nothing free, but there is. The air we breathe, the sun that we bathe in, the warmth of springtime day and the flowers on trees. Yes, all that is free. It is all free. And yet we lust after these apps on this tiny little device, which is electronic and has no reality beyond my relationship to it. It's frightening. And it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's somebody, I saw a young woman, I think I mentioned this on the program, a young woman, tall, well-dressed, here she comes, youngish. The moment that she saw a person approach her, she went straight to that smartphone, like she had some business to conduct right then. She just retreated into the smartphone immediately. So shy and so insecure about herself. Yeah. I mean, she looked fine. She looked great. She was going out to go do something. Who knows? It was after dark. Here she comes. But, I mean, the moment that she saw, I watched that, I could see this. The moment that a person began to approach her space, she went straight to that phone. And I just thought, that's just plain sad. You can't say good evening. You can't say anything. No human contact. No. It's just me and my device. All the human contact that I want can be facilitated through this device. And it's wrong. I really think it's become a programming.
I'm guilty too. I use my device right here. This is the only device I have. I use it to write my articles, to do my business, to do all of my work. So I'm in it too. And it's sad, and yet it's better than an office because I get to sit with my wife at least, so I can put it down when I want, and there she is. And there's the world, and there's it's springtime here in Tennessee, and it's spectacular. The trees are blossoming and vibrating with life again, and there's no shyness out there. I mean, you sit on a hill in a warm, sunny day under a tree. There's no such thing as shyness. There's just you and the warmth and the breeze and this comfort of this living thing, which is 10 times older than you and seen a lot more. And you're there sharing this experience together.
Yeah.
No shyness.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, John, let me ask you something. So Now, you can straighten me out here, because if anybody can straighten me out on this one, it's going to be you. I said, are you telling me they're trying to break the password on this iPhone or whatever out there in San Bernardino? You tell me they don't have a number generator that can't go through all the possible combinations of a 4 or 6 digit passcode on the phone? Really? And it's like, oh, now the Israelis, they're going to help them do it. Oh, and by the way, we've been working with them for a while. And I just saw that whole story as being just a bunch of Bravo Sierra, just a bunch of bloody nonsense. And then you volunteered to crack it for them. So am I in the groove here on this, or what?
Yeah, Bravo Sierra, that's a good word. I on CNN the other day, I said Bravo Sierra in its full beauty, and God believes. Yeah, it is Bravo Sierra, unquestionably. The FBI was trying to do an end run, trying to pull a fast one on the American public.
Yep.
And it used the fact that this one phone was used by a terrorist. A terrorist.
Yeah.
Well, that's the magic word. Suddenly, we are now focused on, oh my God, we are still unsafe. And it says, we have to get into this phone. And we want Apple to write a backdoor. I promise you, they're going to find another phone somewhere from some terrorist, and they're going to go to Google and say, we need one for Android. And then we're all lost. And I saw this, and I knew this. And I also knew that they had a contract with Celebrite, an Israeli company, that they signed in 2013, and they bought a bunch of these devices and were using them and knew that they could do this. Now, imagine our government, an agency of the United States government, created by some of the greatest and brightest minds of their time, with us in mind, here, hundreds of years later. That government lying to the extent that it wants to manipulate our feelings, our fears, to allow us to spy even more into our lives. This is what was happening. A bald-faced lie. And they knew they were lying. And they knew they were manipulating. And I debated James Corden, the FBI mouthpiece, on CNN. And I basically tore him a new AH.
Excellent.
Why? I'm sorry?
I said excellent. Go ahead.
Because it was so absurd. And his opening statement, not opening, after I questioned him, he said, well, you have to give up privacy to get security. And my teeth almost fell out. This is our government talking to a citizen, and not just me, it was on CNN, all citizens. You must give up privacy for security. Has no one read Benjamin Franklin?
Apparently
and
not.
The awesome truth of the statement that those who would give up liberty, which is privacy, for security, deserve neither. Deserve neither. And that's where we are. If we're willing to do that, then we are lost. Please, people have some degree of self-respect and responsibility for your grandchildren, your children, and future generations. Because if you give up your privacy, you're giving up theirs. And you do not have that right.
Wow. That's pretty strong. So how did just the average person out there get the idea that, John McAfee, he was a genius antivirus software guy. He's just a genius guy in general. Has been in the computer thing since before anybody ever really knew what a computer was, outside of references made to it in black and white Star Trek episodes. You've been through that whole thing where the president of IBM said, we don't foresee that an individual will ever have need for the use of a computer. Oh, this should be, that thing. You've been through all of that. How did you get this reputation as being this renegade off the rails guy? What did you do?
Renegade off the rails guy. I'm sorry. I will cop to that. I will accept that.
Well, those are my words, not the public's, but
Who else is out there confronting the FBI, which I know I'm going to get audited probably 100 times a year now from the IRS, and who knows what else. That's a renegade. That's eccentric, isn't it? It's eccentric to step outside
the box that the government assigns you. They take everybody and say, here's your box, live in it. No, I'm sorry. It's too small. It's too small for me. And it's really too small for you. It's too small for everybody. And so the guy who steps outside is obviously eccentric. That's an eccentricity. Get back in your box. That's being a renegade. You're not living in your box. Get the heck back in there. I don't want to. It doesn't suit me. It wasn't my box. I did not create it. And it doesn't fit me. I'm too large for the box, and you're too large for your box. All of us Americans, all of you listening, are too large for your box. Get out. Be eccentric with me. Be a renegade with me. Because out here, in liberty and freedom, I can smile and laugh through anything. Because I'm living in the world at large, where all things are possible. And the mystery of life unfolds in front of my eyes every second of my existence. I am living the American dream, not because I had $100 million and every fancy car on the planet and was chased by beautiful women. No, that's not the American dream. I'm living the American dream because I feel free in spite of everything that our government wants to do. And my batteries.
I know it. Hey, John, how's Belize? How is that as a place to live? You like it?
As a country, if there were no people there, it would be the most beautiful place on earth.
Right.
But it's also the most corrupt place on earth, as I found out. I should have been wiser with all of my experience, and at my age, I should have known better.
All right.
But no, it's ordinarily corrupt, and be careful if you go there. I will say that.
So if you do a boo-boo, be prepared to bribe the police officer.
You bet.
Okay,
You bet.
gotcha. Okay, understood. Look, I would really relish an opportunity to have another conversation with you. I know you got to go, and we do too, and I don't want to, but what an honor it's been to have you on the program. I'll tell you, your words are going to resonate with a lot of people, and of course, our conversation will live forever on the internet as long as it's there. So, thank you very much, John. And by the way, you seem like you. What's that?
Would you give me a link to whatever you do put up so I can see it?
Oh, I will.
And also, do go to McAfee2016.com. If you find it in your heart to help us out in any way, I don't care if it's 50 cents. Click the donate button. We need it. We're up against a mighty, soul-eating machine, and I will not give up my fight. I will fight to the end, irrespective. If you don't find it in your heart to fight the same fight with me, get out of your box. Don't take it anymore. Go out in the street and just say, I'm mad as heck, and I'm not taking it anymore.
No more Bravo Sierra. John, you strike me as someone who may have appreciated the work of Patrick McGowan when he put his Prisoner series together. About you're familiar with that. Well, this is a little.
I am indeed. And unfortunately, I think that's where many people are right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. I'm not dissing anybody. I'm not trying to offend you. I just want you to open your eyes a little and look around you. Look around you. And please, for your children, for your grandchildren, you don't have the right to take things from them just to appease yourself or to remove fears that you have. You don't have this right.
John, we do this every once in a while, and I'm going to do it now. It'll mean a lot more to us than perhaps to you, but I'm doing it anyway. And here it comes. In the manner of the late Lord Patrick McGowan, author, creator of The Prisoner, you, John McAfee, have gloriously illustrated and vindicated the right of the individual to be individual, and I hereby induct you into the Order of the Ark Knights, and this assembly rises to you, Sir John McAfee. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I've had fun.
Be seeing you.